For my last story, I'm going to take you to Puerto Rico.
Puerto
Rico.
Puerto Rico, yes! The place of, is it the samba or is it, yes, the rumba and the samba and sounds and life. But we're not going into the cities. Oh no. We are going into one of the small towns. And there in that small town is a really, really, really steep hill. And there on top of the hill is an old, old house. And in that house, there is an old, old woman with her old, old cat and a beautiful pear tree. The pear tree has been given to her by her best friend, and so she loves it so dearly. Every morning she comes out and she wipes the leaves of the pear tree, she sings to it, she speaks to it, and she nurtures it like a child. And things would be fine, except for those dratted children. Oh, those children. Every single day, they come clambering up that hill. They climb into her beloved pear tree. They pick those golden pears. They throw them down. They fill their pockets. And then they run down that hill. And not only that, but they tease her when she tries to chase them. Oh, tia miseria, you can't catch us, ha 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 ha. And tia miseria means Auntie Misery. That's not a very nice name, is it? For somebody who's just trying to take care of her beautiful pear tree and her cat. So day in, day out, this happens, and tia miseria is really upset. But this is a story. And one night, it is one of the coldest nights, when at midnight, there's a knock at the door. And when she opens the door, there stands a tall stranger. And he says to her, please, my dear lady, it's a cold night and I'm really hungry. Could you give me a bed for the night and maybe just a piece of dry bread and some water? Now, tia miseria, despite the name that the children have given her, is a very kind-hearted woman. And so she says to him, of course, please come in. And so he comes in and she sits him by the fire, shooing the cat away. And there she gets him some of her best food. And in fact, she just made a pear pie that day. So she serves him a piece of pear pie and the best wine that she has in the house. And they talk late into the night, and the stranger tells her all about his travels across the world, and they share stories. And then finally, he goes to bed. Early in the morning, just as the sun is rising, the stranger gets up, and tia miseria, for we now must call her that, she gives him a cup of coffee, and she gives him some pastries, and now he's ready to head out into the world. But before he does, he says to her, you have been so kind to me, to a stranger who has shown up at your door in the middle of the night, and I would like to grant you one wish, for I am a magician. And tia miseria, she doesn't have to think very long. It will be done. And as he walks out of the house, he gently caresses the pear tree. And the pear tree gives a little shake and a little shimmer because it's heard what the magician had to say. Later that day, when the sun is fully in the sky, tia miseria is going on with her work in the house, when there comes that dreaded noise of the clambering children scrambling up that hill, and she waits. And they go into her beautiful pear tree and they start picking the pears, and they're starting to bruise the leaves and bruise the pears. But unlike normal, when she would be chasing them, she stands there with a cup of tea. And watches them. sips her tea, and watches them. And the children, who are so used to her screaming and chasing them, they're going, there's something wrong. Why is she just standing there with her cup of tea and smiling? But they don't care. They have the pears, and they are going to climb down from the tree when they find that they are stuck. Stuck like glue. Oh, they can't move at all. Their pockets are heavy with the pears, but they cannot move. What's going on? What's going on? Tia Miseria, what's happening? Oh, hi, sweetheart. Tia Miseria! And she continues to do her work. And soon the sun is setting, and the children are really getting worried because they've been stuck up in that tree for a couple of hours now. Tia Miseria, please. Our father is going to get angry. Our mother is going to spank us. Please, let us go. She comes out. Do you promise to never climb up this hill again? Do you promise to never come near my pear tree again? Yes, we promise. Very well then. Pear tree, let them go. And one by one, the children fall onto the ground, bruising their bums and running down that hill, never planning to ever come back. You're such a meanie, Tia Miseria. You're so mean. We're never coming back. And they go to their homes where they're scolded very well by their mothers. And now Tia Miseria, she's so happy. Every day she polishes the leaves of the tree. She picks those golden pears. She makes pear pie and pear cake and pear tart. And she looks after her cat. But it's a story. And one night, midnight, there is a knock at the door. This time when she opens the door, the tall stranger who stands there is quite familiar. He's draped in a black cloak and he carries a scythe. It's Monsieur Death. Tia Miseria. His voice sounds like dry leaves rustling over cemeteries. It is time for you to come with me. It is time for you to leave this world. Tia Miseria isn't ready to go yet. She's finally got rid of those dratted children. She has her beautiful pear tree and the old cat. So she thinks really quickly, and just a moment ago where she opened the door like this, suddenly she finds that her back is stooped. She says to him, "Oh, Senor Death, yeah, of course I'll come with you, but I'm an old woman. I can barely walk. Why, my knees hurt, my back hurts. And it's such a long journey that we're going to take. I'm going to get hungry and thirsty. Why don't you pick some of the pears for the journey?" Now, Senor Death is not used to being asked for any favors. Normally when people see him, they just come along, right? Mm-hmm. But she just will not listen. "No, Senor Death, no. I can't. Please, just a few pears." Very well then. So he sets his scythe against the pear tree and he starts picking the pears from the lowest branches. But that's not what Tia Miseria wants. No, Senor, please climb a little bit higher. That's where the best pears are. "We have a really long journey ahead of us," says Senor Death. "I don't have time for all this. Please, Senor, please, just a few pears." Fine. So grumbling and mumbling and hoisting up his long robe, Senor Death climbs into that pear tree, picks some of those highest pears, and when he wants to get down, he's stuck. Oh, no one has ever treated Death like this. Death is serious, and he is to be respected. He is not to be stuck in a pear tree while you sit there and laugh. And not only that, you drink tea and watch him. Right? Senor Death is not used to this. He starts screaming and yelling, the most awful language, I can't repeat it. Senor, maybe you should save your voice a little bit. Oh, you woman, like I said, I can't. I just cannot. And Tia Miseria continues to drink tea. She drank so many cups of tea that day, by the way. And she continues to go on with her work, and when night falls, she closes the door and leaves Death stuck up in the tree, and she goes to bed by the fire. And the next morning when she gets up, there's Death still stuck in the tree, looking quite grumpy, as one would be if you've been stuck in a tree the whole night. And now he's gone on to pleading. I have work to do. There's so much. I don't have time for this. Please let me down. Please let me down. Does Tia Miseria listen? No. She does not. No, I'm not going to do that. Just stay there. Well, he doesn't really have a choice. So he does stay there, and throughout the day, either he's screaming, or he's cursing, or he's pleading, or he's yelling. He goes through the whole range of emotions trying to convince her. She doesn't listen. That day goes past, a week goes past, a month goes past. Now, the people who make their careers, their life out of Death, have all started wondering what's happening. The grave diggers, the cemetery keepers, the priests, the doctors. Right? We don't think about this, but so many people depend on Death to make a living.
Yes.
Right? And now the gossip, the rumors start. Tia Miseria has Death trapped up in the tree. Tia Miseria has Death trapped up in the tree. Tia Miseria has Death trapped up in the tree. Really? Death trapped up in a pear tree? I've never heard of anything like that. And one by one, they start making their way up that steep hill. And true enough, when they come to her door, they're shocked. There's Death up in the tree. By now, he's so grumpy. He's just sitting there like this. Senor Death! They're shocked. They don't know what to say. And then they go into the house where Tia Miseria is waiting. Please, sir, please sit down. Have a cup of tea. Would you like a piece of pear pie? Maybe some pear cake. Tia Miseria, you must let Death go. Our families are starving. We don't have any work. Death is stuck up in that tree. I mean, look at him. I'm not going to let him go, because if I do, he's going to take me with him, and I don't want to leave my cat and my fire and my beautiful pear tree. Oh, so many of them keep coming up and down and up and down. Another month goes past. And now, her friend, the one who had given her that pear tree, one day she makes her way slowly, painfully, step by step by step, up that steep hill. And she comes to Tia Miseria's door and knocks. Tia Miseria opens the door. Please, my darling friend, my beloved, please come sit down. What can I give you? Can I give you tea? Can I give you cake? Can I give you wine? My friend, please, let Death go. I am old and I'm tired. I'm ready to leave now. Tia Miseria can't say no to her friend. So they come out of the house where Death is really grumpy. And she looks at Death and she says, if I let you go, do you promise to leave me behind? By now, Death is ready to agree to anything. Yes, yes, I will leave you. I will never come for you, I promise. Nor my cat, nor your cat. Okay, very well. Pear tree, let him go. Boom! And Death falls down, looking even more undignified than he did to start with. His robes are all crumpled, and he did get a bit of a bruise on his bottom, if I'm honest. And he picks himself up and he dusts himself down. He takes his scythe, and then he takes the friend by the hand, very gently, and together they leave. And Tia Miseria, well, she stays in that old house on top of the steep hill with her old cat and her pear tree, which no longer gives her pears. And this is why the people in Puerto Rico say that wherever death goes, misery follows. Thank you. It's one of my favorite stories because normally death is so serious, and this is like a lovely version.